can share. I think the child visualization was something that I don't think I've ever done with before with a picture of myself in front of me. And I thought that was you know, you got to go back to that place where you are at in that picture, and I really enjoyed that. You know,
Yeah,
it took me back to my childhood and where what I was doing exactly on that day, and the warmth and the curiosity and how happy I was. And um it was just really nice to go back to that and feel that.
that's a great comment, Stephanie. Sorry, and to take it a step further, now that Essa has experienced that, she knows she can go back to that picture and not only relive that moment, but even more important, know that all that curiosity and energy and all those positive things you just shared, all those things are there for her to use at any moment of any day as her current adult self. So, and I think some of you know about, I mean, a thing I say quite often, living like a child. It's the title of my first book from years ago in 2011. I can't, 10 years ago. It's crazy. So this idea of living like a child, and this goes even further. That was just the first step of the child visualization. I'll just mention the next step. We don't have time to do it right now, but if you were to break up your life, if you were to divide your life into 5 chapters by age, so I'm about to turn 55, so I would do it by 11, right? So my first chapter would be 0 to 11, right? So divide your age by 5, and you'll have 5 different chapters of your life. Go back and ask yourself, what would I title that chapter? How would I title it? And what were the highlights? What were the gifts in any potential adversity? What were the highlights? You know, what did I learn? What was the knowledge you gained? For me, ages 0 to 11. You know, for me, it was like unconditional love, curiosity. Yes, I can. You know, and then yeah, for myself, I felt the same. So Mariana saying, I felt the same as Elena. We get stuck in our adult lives that we don't take a moment to think back about how we felt when we were children ourselves. Exactly. And then to know that that child, that energy of that child, not just the image, not just the, oh, that was nice, but the actual energy, openness, and power of that young child, it lives in you. It is inside you, and you can access it any moment you want. One good way to access it, PQ reps, to go to that neutral space. And again, a PQ rep could be as short as 10 seconds, right? Okay, let's continue. If you have anything else, anyone, feel free to just jump in any moment, even though I'm changing the screen. But certainly you can always. So here's a story. All right, so take a look at this. Okay, so I shared with you early on that I'm going to share a pretty emotional story with you, and this is it. So this is my daughter, and the other woman there with the dark sunglasses on, and then kissing the graduate, that's my wife, Marie. And Marie and I have been married. I'll give you a little context. Marie and I have been married. It's coming up on 28 years at the end of this month. You know, we're just really understand each other really well, communicate really well. She taught me how to dance salsa. I'm the cook in the house. She hates cooking. So we figured out really good ways to support each other. She's very more left brain oriented. I'm more right brain oriented. And we learn from each other. And our daughter, when she was 4 down there, you can see when she's very precocious little girl, with all the curls. So here's my question for you. Take a look at all the images of my daughter, Sam. And you can put this in the chat box if you want, you're welcome to. In which of these pictures do you think she was actually happy? And in which of these pictures do you think she was profoundly, and by the way, she gives me permission to tell the story. She tells the story herself. She's quite a speaker herself, all right? And she loves that I share this story, just to be very clear. So in which of these pictures do you think she was really happy? And which of these pictures do you think she was profoundly depressed and experiencing severe anxiety and depression? I'll start there. So take a good look at the images. And so when she was a child, Tani, right? So I assume you mean she was happy when she was a child, and you would be correct. That's one image. And I'll give you a hint. There are only two other images, one where she's truly happy and another one where she's on her way back to getting there. The other images, she was experiencing severe depression and anxiety. Happy child. Yeah, she was a happy child. A lot of energy. Spirited would be the word. That's the word they use in books a lot. So what other picture do you think she was happy in? Bottom right. So Tani, are you saying bottom right happy or depression and anxiety? Yes. So that one's kind of obvious, right? Yeah. Top left happy. You would think so, Mariana, but no. Top left on the beach. That's Miami Beach. My wife's from Miami, Florida. Top left, she was in a lot of emotional pain. But you wouldn't know it. I mean, we knew it. But most people wouldn't know it because people hide it. And I'm not judging anyone for hiding it, you know. What about the other pictures? What do you think? High school graduate. So that was college graduate, but same difference. You would think she was, but no. She was not. She was in a dark place. Dark place. And again, there's a very happy ending here, right? We have our daughter back. So which one do you think she's really happy, other than the childhood picture? There's one picture where she really is back, the one with you and her. Oh, thank you for thinking that. I wish that were true, but no, not in that picture. In that picture, she was, yeah. Top right, yes, Tani. Top right is that's a picture about a week ago. And she's back. And the one in black, the one at the bottom, next to the childhood picture, she was on her way back. That was the beginning of her way back. And so here's the story, right? So the story is she grew up as a very spirited child, really happy, and somewhere in late elementary school, middle school, she started experiencing depression, anxiety, not fitting in, trying to play with other kids, getting turned down a lot. And in middle school, late middle school, high school, we didn't know. And again, what I'm going to share might be a trigger, but hang in there with me. It's a super inspiring and happy ending story. Okay. So she started hurting herself. We didn't know it. We didn't know she was cutting herself. We didn't know she had insomnia. We didn't know that she was having suicidal thoughts pretty often. And then my daughter experienced being physically assaulted twice, and very difficult for me to talk about, but I do talk about it because I found that people enjoy not being alone. They want to know how we dealt with it as a family. And then she's 26. 7 years ago, at age 19, my daughter attempted suicide. And so she did it with a bottle of pills in her dorm at the University of Arizona. And in that moment, the moment she took the pills, she heard a voice in her head. And the voice was my voice, apparently. And I said, in this moment, she heard me talking to her and saying the same thing that I'd always said to her all her life. I would tell my kids, "You're a champion." And I would say it almost, not angry, but really, and I would say, "You're a champion," you know. And then I'd smile. Like my nana used to tell me, "Everything you touch turns to gold." So kind of learned that from my nana, and I told my kids, "You're a champion." So in that moment, my daughter took the pills, heard my voice saying, "You're a champion." And while she wasn't sure she wanted to live at that moment, she was sure she didn't want to die. She knew she didn't want to die. So she called out for help. And so, you know, that it was a horrifying evening for her, obviously, mostly. And I share this with you because She then went through the journey of trying to figure out depression, anxiety, and she tried everything. And I'm not judging anyone who has found a way to do this with traditional medicine. If that is helping you, great, super. The traditional medical route did not help my daughter, Sam. It made it worse. So what did she do? Well, she tried everything, but she would keep falling off. She tried eating healthy, but then she would stress eat, so she was still very anxious. We did 3 things, and you see the words right on the screen: nutrition, mind, and brain. And it started with nutrition, specifically in the gut health. Our gut is our second brain. When we have bad bacteria building up in our gut, it impacts our ability. It impacts the muscle of the brain, and it impacts the muscle of the mind. So with bad nutrition, it is very difficult to overcome. And yes, I said that word, overcome depression, anxiety. So when my daughter was about 23, she started, she changed the way she ate, and she started taking some enzymes and different things that really very specific ones that helped her. And after 3 months, it wasn't like, oh, 3 months later, yay, everything's perfect. No, it just took a while. She was 23, she's 27 today. It took some years, right? But I saw a text she sent to a friend of hers who also suffers from depression, anxiety. And she said, Mike, I need to talk to you because, and these are words from my daughter, and she's a skeptic, okay? I'm the optimist in the family. My daughter's a skeptic, and she said, I have pretty much eradicated, is the word she used, eradicated my depression and anxiety. And we don't hear people talking about that because we're told we can't. We're told the best we can do is manage. But when we dive deep into mind fitness and brain fitness and nutrition, anything is possible. Now, there are certain people that do not want us to know this because they make a living selling us other products, and that's all I'll say. They make a living selling us other products and wanting us to use certain products that they know are not healthy for us. Things like white sugar, things like white flour, and other products. I'll just leave it there. I think you know what I mean. Yeah. So
yeah,
mute that first. One second.
oh,
Okay. There we go. So she got her gut health right? And then she started working on her mental fitness and her brain fitness, both. And so you can see the energy hopefully flying off that picture of her, the recent one, next to the graduation picture, right? So now, does she still dip sometimes? Sure she does. We all do. But she pops up quickly, right? So I'm not suggesting that happiness is something that can be attained 100% of the time. Research says 92% is the max. Of course, I think as the Boy Scout in the room, not real Boy Scout, I'm the optimist. I go, I wonder if 93% is possible. But so does she have moments where she gets anxious? Yeah. And then she knows how to deal with it. Whereas before, it would be a spiral and she'd be down for a month. Physically could not get out of bed. Would have these huge emotional swings. So I share this story with you in love. And I share this story with you in the hope that, one, if you or someone you know is suffering from something like this, that they're not alone, number one. We're all here in one big community and we can support each other. And number two, there are solutions. And a big part of it is brain fitness, mind fitness, and nutrition. Before I go on, are there any questions at all? Any comments related to this story, adversity as ally, all the different things we're experiencing today together? And it's a lot. It's a very intense story. It's an intense topic. It may just be something you want to sit with for a while and contemplate. And I totally respect that. We don't have to talk about it right now. Before we go on, and if you have any questions, there's always time. You can type something in the chat room, a chat box, or you can say something. I want to say that my daughter inspires me. She's a music teacher at a school, incredibly gifted teacher. They love her there. I mean, how do you teach music during COVID? What? So what she did, this is how far she's come. She actually went from teaching them music to we're going to do film production that includes music. So kids were creating their own little clips and stuff, and yeah, so it's and so there's that, you know. And I just want to thank my daughter for giving me permission pretty much anytime I want to share the story, and for being such an incredible human being. And we do mentor each other. I don't just mentor her, and we're there for each other. And we're very close. And my son too. My son has a great story too, a different one, but also very intense. I'll tell you that one later. Stephanie says, how did you learn what you had to eat to get cured, or is there a program or website, some sort of guide? Great question. Great question. So it was by trial and error. And I started talking to people who were nutritionists. So not necessarily like traditional doctors. So I started talking to holistic practitioners, and I started reading and researching. Mariana, it can be hard to ask for help when help is needed, and it's inspiring the support you gave your daughter. Sometimes we don't all have that support. Thank you, Mariana. That's very kind of you to say, very generous words. And we loved her, and that wasn't enough, but certainly without that, it could have been a very different ending, right? And I know people with very similar stories where the ending was not happy. I speak a lot. I'm in front of a lot of people, and I have people come up to me and thank me. And a woman came up to me one time. This was in New York, upper state New York, at the New York Early Childhood, the AEYC conference for the state of New York. There are a couple thousand people there. And I told this story, and a lot of people were coming up to me and talking to me. And this one lady came up to me and hugged me and said, oh, thank you so much for sharing that story, because people need to know. People need to know there are solutions. And she talked to me about her daughter, a very similar thing. The difference is her daughter didn't make it. And, you know, what do you say? What do you say? It's very difficult, but it's so important we open this kind of conversation up, because this is prevalent. This was prevalent before COVID, and even more so during COVID, a lot of isolation. So to answer Stephanie's question a little bit more, and then we got to go on. One, I'd be happy to talk with you and your family, not as a doctor, I'm not, but just in terms of general advice. Any advice I give anyone, I always tell them, check with your doctor first, you know, or in addition to. But we basically started researching what foods impact, and we're going to get into it right now. So actually, I'm about to answer your question like in all sorts of detail, Stephanie. I just got excited. I forgot what's coming next. What's coming next is the nutrition piece. So I started figuring out what we need to eat, not to lose weight, but what we need to eat to be really healthy at the cellular level, at the DNA level. Because when our DNA and our cellular level health is strong and our gut health is strong, everything gets better. Everything, not perfect, but better. So I don't know. I don't know if I would use the word cure, but I would say there are definitely answers to greatly improve our mental fitness. So let me dive in with the next set of screens, and I'm gonna go pretty quickly now, because a lot of these are just quick images. So hang on, buckle up, and here we go. Raw eating. Now, what that may sound crazy. It's not. It's not. A smoothie is raw. That's raw. That's all raw stuff. An acai bowl, that's raw. Dipping some broccoli in some almond butter, that's delicious, actually. It's pretty much raw. So everything you're looking at right now, except the granola picture, and that's just a little tiny topping. Almond butter is slightly processed, but the purple stuff at the bottom of those bowls, that is acai, A-C-A-I. Acai, it is a superfood, and it's awesome. And you can buy it at stores now, and it'll keep getting less and less and less expensive. It's not too bad. It's like coconut oil. Coconut oil used to be super pricey. Now it's not. You can buy it in huge tubs, and it's cheap, and it's great health, great healthy oil. The little yellow things, those are bee pollen. You don't have to get that. That's kind of pricey. You don't need that. But bananas, we can all get bananas. Those little red things in the top right-hand side, those are goji berries. No sugar and sweet. The one that has the banana, that picture over there. the bottom left, chia seeds, hemp seeds, as much raw food is where it's at. I do it on a bad day, I do 30% raw eating. On a typical day, I do 50 to 60%. And sometimes I make a decision to go 75% raw in a day. And every time I do, it feels incredible. Why? Because raw food has 100% of the enzymes in it. When we cook any food, we kill the food. Bummer. When we cook the food, the enzymes go, see ya, we're not here anymore. And then we don't get that nutritional value. So most people are walking around undernourished. That is the main issue. The main issue is we are undernourished and eating foods that are highly processed. And here's the thing, wherever you shop, if you stop buying the stuff they're selling, they will find whatever you want to put in that store. Case in point, Fry's food or Bass's or wherever. You go around to Bass's or Fry's foods anywhere in Tucson, for example, they do not carry the same foods. Did you know that? On the south side of Tucson, man, they have all sorts of great food that I grew up with. Great tortillas, and they got nanas back there making it, man. It's delicious. And then in other parts of Tucson, the same brand of store has like a whole health food section. Demand. If we as a community demand certain things, they will put them there. When we stop buying Cheetos, they will stop putting them in the store. And I'm not making fun of anyone who likes Cheetos. I like Cheetos too. I had one Cheeto on Saturday night, one single Cheeto. I had not had a Cheeto in about, 10 years. Why? Because I know what's in it. Look at the back. Raw eating, more enzymes. Really good thing to do, right? Okay, here's a journey I'm going to describe inside your body that you want your body to take. And I'm going to describe in a moment what NMN stands for. It's an acronym, and what NAD stands for. And CERT. Okay, I'm going to get a little sciencey with you now, but hang in there with me. This is how we can repair our DNA. This is how we can, at age 60, look and feel like we are 38. Remember the pictures last time? The 84-year-old woman and the 102-year-old guy? I'm showing you right now, I'm answering Stephanie's question, among other things. I'm showing you right now how this happens. And I'm using, for the most part, normal words, okay? All right? So, just, telomere as a review, the end of the cells are little tiny cells, you can't see, they're so small. The end caps are like the end caps to our shoelaces. When those become frayed, right, bad things happen. When they become shorter, we live shorter and we're in more discomfort. The longer the telomeres are, the healthier we are and the longer we live, all right? So what I'm going to show you now makes the telomeres longer, and we age in a much better way, and we get rid of inflammation. So here we go. Right? Real simple. That's what NMN stands for. You don't even have to be able to pronounce it. I can barely pronounce it. And it's connected to this thing called niacin, and we have enzymes that use NMN to generate this thing called NAD. So if your body is producing NMN, check this out. Then it produces NAD, and then your DNA health. But to make this simple, eat the things you see on that page. Those things on that page produce NMN. So broccoli should be something you're eating every week, multiple times a day. Avocado. Avocado is going to be a little pricey. Broccoli is cheap. Cabbage is cheap, right? And there are a lot of other things too. But notice something all these things have in common. They're all raw. Anyone here like guacamole? I love guacamole is raw. That's a raw dish. That's awesome. Right? As long as you don't put cottage cheese, then it's not raw anymore. But it doesn't need cottage cheese. So these foods I eat. I've gotten off a little. I eat avocado often and broccoli often. I haven't made my cabbage salad recently, but it's really good. It's a vinegar-based thing. It's delicious. You can make it spicy too. So that's NMN. Okay. So when we eat those kinds of foods and others, and I'll show you more here, I have another list of food, we then end up producing NAD, right? NAD. They even sell NAD in the stores as in a pill form, but there's no need to do that if you're eating in the right way, right? Bottom line is, when we produce this thing called NAD by eating those foods, there are a lot of enzymes that start to pop around and get very excited. Our energy goes up. And then the sirtuin number 6, we have 7. These are specific places in our DNA. All it means is you're going to live longer with less pain, with a healthier mind. Okay? So as opposed to, I have a headache, I'm going to take ibuprofen. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. That's treating symptom. Ibuprofen doesn't make what's creating the headache go away. It just masks the pain. It puts like a little covering on it, but it's still there. So we all get to make our own choices. I'm not here to tell you what to take and what not to take. I am sharing with you that I don't take medication. Now, if I break my leg and I'm in the hospital, I will raise my hand and say, please give me morphine. Right? I have no problem with that. So I'm not anti-medicine. I'm not anti-doctor. I'm just pro, let's figure out what we can really eat to really figure things out for our mind and brain. Another list of foods you can eat to protect your DNA. If, that's not a word, that stands for intermittent fasting. That's another really cool thing to do. What is intermittent fasting? It's when you choose any 8-hour block, or 6, but usually 8, any 8-hour window of time when you're going to eat. And you don't eat before or after that window of time. So if your first meal is at 8 a.m., that means you would be done by 4 p.m. Ooh, that's kind of early. So for me, I typically eat my first meal somewhere between 10 a.m. and noon. Today it's going to be 12:15. I haven't eaten yet today, by the way. I feel great. Do I look like I'm lacking energy? No, I'm good to go. Now I've gotten used to this. I was told by my nana, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. My nana was brilliant. Now, she didn't get that one right. She got everything else right, but she wasn't right on that. Why? Because the big idea of a big breakfast was important back when we were all farmers. Waking up at 3:30 in the morning to go milk cows and working really hard till 8 or 9 a.m. Yes, then we needed a huge breakfast. So if you eat at 10 a.m., you're done by 6. If you eat at 11 a.m., you're done by 7. It gives the body time to cleanse. So when you intermittent fast and not starve, but eat healthy calories, like the foods I'm showing you, and when you produce resveratrol, what is that? That's another really healthy thing for your body. What do you eat to produce resveratrol? There's the list. And there are other foods too. There's a short list. Now, this does not mean you should eat 3 cups of dried cranberries, because dried cranberries have a lot of sugar. So everything in moderation, which I'll be honest, is tough for me. I've gotten better. Mushrooms, you could eat as many mushrooms as you want. Sauteed, raw, whatever. They're incredibly healthy. Blueberries, really healthy. Pistachios, so healthy for us. Dark chocolate, I'm not here to say you should have 2 bars every day. No. Here and there, but dark chocolate's healthy. Pinot Noir, that's a red wine. I am not saying everyone should drink 2 bottles of red wine every day. Enrique did not say that. But if you're going to drink something, if you're going to have an alcoholic beverage, that would be a really good choice. Here and there, okay? Cacao powder, the base of chocolate. Right? So that gives you some information there. 2 books that I think everyone should read. And then IBG, those are the brain games. So 3 resources that are big time life changers. The enzyme book, it's an old book, but it's really, really great. It'll really enlighten you. And Lifespan by Harvard professor David Sinclair. We don't have to hurt as we get older. It takes a little more work, yes, it takes more work, but there are things we can do and things we can eat to feel better, right? And of course, the brain games, you know about those. Okay, some more tips for nutrition. And why, right? Again, nutrition impacts mental fitness and brain fitness. Good nutrition helps us find the gift in adversity. When we are struggling with nutrition, and feeling slow and lethargic or even in pain, it's difficult. It's obviously more difficult. Do you have to do all these things? My goodness, no. 14 years ago, I wasn't doing all this stuff. I just got off soda and started doing Taibo. My first step 14 years ago was I got off soda and I did some Taibo. Was I still eating sugar? Yeah. Was I still having some fast food? Yeah. Do I today? No. Really rare. It's really rare. So butter, guess what? You can have it. Real butter, but not margarine. You stay away from margarine. Margarine is, chemically speaking, very close to plastic. Our body does not process it well, even if it's less calories. Don't be concerned with the calories as much. I mean, we do want to be concerned with calories, but it's more important the quality of the calorie, right? Coconut oil, coconut water, coconut milk, anything coconut, super healthy. I cook with it often, and with butter. Olive oil, that's what that oil is there. I make my own dressings, so you can save yourself money. Did you know that? You know how expensive salad dressings are? They're kind of pricey. And if you look at the back and see what's in them, they're not good, not good. So I make my own olive oil, some type of vinegar, salt, pepper, and maybe a touch of honey or monk fruit. I use monk fruit extract. If you want to put chiltepin or some kind of chili in there, spicy, and you just shake it up. You can make a bunch of it, and it's like 1/10 the cost. You'll save yourself so much money, and you'll be a lot healthier, right? So on the healthy part, I forgot to mention, these are all healthy fats. Healthy fats are superfood for the brain. When we don't eat enough fat, for example, when we allow ourselves to be tricked by certain companies and we buy low-fat food, like low-fat yogurt and low-fat this and low-fat that, your body, your brain is not getting healthy fat. So here's what happens. You're eating low-fat products, your brain's not getting enough healthy fat, and your brain tells the rest of your body it's starvation mode. We are not getting enough healthy fat. Hold on to everything you got. So when people are eating low-fat stuff and not getting enough healthy fat, in moderation, the body will hold on to the fat it has. It can be very frustrating, right? So now you know. Now you know, right? So that's a really important thing to know about our body and how it operates. Here's something we eat very little of in this part of the world, fermented foods. So in other parts of the world, they eat lots of fermented foods, right? And we need to. We eat some, like pickles, that's a fermented cucumber, right? Jalapeno in vinegar. Oh, I love that stuff, right? So that's in our culture, I think, to a certain degree. But have you ever pickled the rind of watermelon? The outside part. It's awesome. It's awesome. How do you pickle anything? The same way you've learned to do anything today. You go on YouTube and go, how do I pickle whatever? And you're going to get a bunch of recipes, or on Google. Just search it up. It's very simple and really delicious. The bottom left-hand corner is sauerkraut. The top left-hand corner is kimchi. So that's an Asian slaw that's super spicy and funky. You know what sauerkraut is, it's a German thing. It is an acquired taste. I did not grow up eating sauerkraut as a kid, or kimchi, or watermelon rind. I didn't like pickles as a kid at all. I didn't like jalapenos that are too spicy. I didn't eat any of these things as a kid or a young adult. I ate lots of ketchup, right? Did you know that a serving of ketchup, in some cases, depending on the brand, has the same amount of sugar as a donut? What? Oh no! So I didn't used to like mustard, but guess what? I eat all these things today, and when I do have a treat, I love potatoes. Like let's say a breakfast, eggs and some potatoes and something. I dip my potatoes. You ready? In mustard. I know. It's okay. I get it. I used to think the same thing. But if you like mustard, it goes great with potatoes, and I'm not getting any sugar. So what I'm really sharing with you is it's one step at a time. It's one step at a time. I'm giving you all this information now. I did not use all this at the same time. It's taken years. Fermented foods are great for the body and the brain and the mind. Okay, here's a real simple image. Avoid the stuff on the right, embrace the stuff on the left. I mean, I just put 3 pictures. I'm not saying those only 3 things, but drinks that are healthy. So green tea, yerba mate tea, very healthy, right? Like I love coffee, but too much coffee impacts our adrenal glands. I mean, I love coffee black, and I really like the flavor. So I usually have it just on weekends, but I'll be honest here. So I was doing it just on Saturday and Sundays, but then I redefined weekend, and I started having coffee on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then I started eating coffee on Thursday nights too, or Thursday mornings. Sorry, drinking. So before you knew it, I was having tea 1 or 2 days a week and coffee 5 days a week, and sometimes more than 1 cup. So it's been, today is 3 weeks I haven't had coffee. I haven't had any caffeine, and I feel better. Am I going to go back to having coffee? Yes, here and there. Let's see, I love eating eggs. Are they considered a superfood? Yeah, you know, there's a lot of back and forth between certain foods. Eggs are considered healthy as long as they're what I call happy eggs. So eggs from healthy, happy chickens. So eggs are one of the foods I spend, I save a lot of money on my dressings, and I save a lot of money because I eat a lot of vegetables and not as much meat. But eggs, I spend a little extra money on my eggs because if the eggs come from chickens that have antibiotics in them and GMOs, then that same stuff is in the egg. So just make sure you're getting good eggs. But yeah, eggs are great. And then garlic, by the way, that second picture, super, super healthy for us. And the Swiss chard, the Swiss chard is that leafy thing, the colorful thing. Any green, any dark green, kale, arugula. You know, arugula, arugula is like a little green, like for salads, a peppery green. It's really yummy. 1 serving of arugula has 10 times the amount of calcium than 1 glass of milk. So we can get our calcium from other places, right? And then we got sugar and stress and white flour I should have put on there too. We want to make sure we avoid sugar as often as possible. If we're eating processed foods, it's hard to avoid because it's in most products now. And then stress would be the #1 thing. And so thus mental fitness, PQ reps, brain games, you know, all the breathing, right? Very, very important. All righty. Okay, my top 3 healthy recipes. And I sent to Edsa my recipes. And so you're all going to get, I think later on, sometime in the near future, I don't know when, recipes. So if you don't write these down right now, it's okay. But I would take a picture of it. If you have your phone with you and you can take it, or you might be on your phone, so you can't do both. Or well, you could take a screenshot, right? So broccoli salad, there it is. It's all raw. And it's super delicious with diced apple, cilantro, a little red onion. And then there's the dressing. And that's not the only way I make my dressings. That's just one of my favorites. So really healthy, filling. There you go. So that's broccoli salad. #2, drum roll, a smoothie. Look at what I'm putting in my smoothie. Avocado and broccoli. Oh, nasty. Oh, good, Mariana. Yeah, but check it out. You cannot taste the avocado or broccoli or dark greens. You don't taste them in my smoothie. You do not. All right. What's hemp seed? It's a little tiny, they taste like nothing, but they have 20 amino acids in them. So DNA health, all right? Flaxseed meal. Anyone here have high blood pressure? Flaxseed meal will help you keep your blood pressure down. So will pineapple. Just look it up. There are foods we can eat to help us. Almond butter, frozen strawberries, the acai I talked about. I like ginger. It's also, ginger lowers our inflammation. Every disease we know about begins at some level with inflammation. I don't drink dairy milk, right? I used to, but it turns into sugar once it's in the body, right? So I don't want that in my body. I use almond milk or coconut milk or that kind of thing. And then I like it kind of sweet, so I put in 20 drops of monk drops, monk fruit extract. So the product is called monk drops. You can buy it online. So even if it's not, like I haven't found it in stores yet. I think some stores might have it, but you just go online and look up monk drops and you can buy it. It's $10 for a little bottle, but that little bottle has hundreds of drops. It'll last a pretty long time. And drum roll for the number one, just, you know, my preference. So I do this in the summer, so I'm going to start making these again. Chia seed puddings. So chia seeds are super healthy, but you have to soak the chia seed. Why do you have to why do you have to soak it? Because a chia seed expands 20 times its size once it is in moisture. So if you were to eat a bunch of chia seeds dry, not a good idea, because then it will expand in your tummy. You won't die anything, but you will be uncomfortable. So you soak it overnight. I soak it overnight in some type of non-dairy milk, and you can spice it any way you want. There are some ideas. Really, really healthy. And really, all these are healthy and delicious. They're really delicious, right? Okay. So, beginning to wrap this up so we have time for maybe a couple questions. Quick review, and if you haven't taken the saboteur assessment, please do, because it is super enlightening. Elsa's nodding her head. So inner saboteurs, sage. The inner saboteurs are the judges. The main judge is the judge. That's the main character. The others are the accomplice saboteurs. So we all have a judge, and after judge, we have different ones that are our personal, you know, challenges. For me, it's the controller and hyperachiever. When we judge, we're judging others, ourselves, and our circumstances. So we intercept that thought. Inner saboteur, oh, you know, no, do more, Lydia, do more, my hyperachiever. Or if you're a stickler, no, you're not done with that yet. It could be better. It should be perfect. It's got to be perfect. That's a stickler, right? A pleaser, no, I got to do something. I can't do anything to hurt anyone's feelings. I got to make sure that I help everyone else feel great, right? So whatever it is, we block that thought with PQ rep. And the PQ rep allows us to then begin to choose our inner sage. The child visualization is one of many, many, many strategies to remind us that we can be empathetic, to remind us to explore without judgment, to explore lots of options and ideas, whether it's in a meeting or whether it's colleagues or whether it's with children. Innovate, right? Looking for new ways to do things as opposed to only the same way. And navigate, you know, what questions can we ask? You know, how can we be better listeners to do a better job when things are difficult, when there's a struggle? And then activate, we did that today with PQ rep, right? Elsa says hypervigilant. Yeah, so safety, security. And that, you know, a lot of parents are like that. I didn't used to be at all. And then as a parent, I became more hypervigilant. As my kids grew up, I became less again. My dad is super hypervigilant, right? So, and there's no judgment, no pun intended, right? Whatever your saboteur is what it is. But then once you know, you begin to catch it. When you become aware of whatever it is your saboteur, you become more aware. I'm curious, Elsa, since you took the saboteur assessment, what was that like for you? What was the upside of taking it?
I kind of I got a lot of highs. Let me go back to my test because I just took it out right now. I just have it.
Oh, cool, yeah.
So I feel like I judged myself too harshly when I saw a lot of my saboteurs because it's kind of like too real. I know exactly what they mean by hypervigilant, and everyone around me like could nod their head and be like, yeah, I could see you being that. Yeah, and the other one is hyperachiever too. And so those are two things that I struggle with, and it just kind of made me realize what I need to work on,
Yeah.
and be more aware of them. And yeah,
Good, good. And it doesn't mean that you don't want to achieve, of course, right? Uh,
right.
yeah, yeah. It's just about the inflection of the voice. Like we do want to judge ourselves. We don't want to judge. We do want to critique ourselves, right? That's healthy to go, I can do better, you know. But with that kind of, I can do a better job, a pretty good job, but I can do better. That's fine. But it's when we start to, like you said, beat ourselves. We're like, oh, what was I thinking? Oh God, that's nowhere near my best. Oh, I'm just so awful. Or I can't even say these words out loud because it's so not me, you know. But the being aware is the big step number one. And yes, Mariana, I'm glad. Yeah, I'll put the here's the link in the chat box, everyone. If you go to, and this is
Really
the,
like this. I really like this too because it gives you the characteristics on what it means to be, like, for example, myself, how what it means to be hyper vigilant. It gives you the thoughts that you have on there, the feelings, justification lies, impact on self and others, and it has something like original survival function. So I thought that was really interesting.
yeah,
I
it's
learned.
fascinating. Yeah, it's awesome. So I just put the link. If you go to positiveintelligence.com, everyone, and you scroll down, you'll see saboteur assessment. And if you take it, my colleague, Shuzad Chamain, his company will send you an email, but you don't have to respond. So there's nothing to buy, or it doesn't cost anything at all. Um, but I encourage you definitely to check it out. So yeah, being aware of which of the saboteurs is our strong ones. It's so important. And some people have a bunch of them that are strong. Others have just one that is strong. And again, it's relative. So if I were to compare my number on the numbers I got on the assessment to Ed says, that wouldn't mean anything. So the numbers are only relative to each other, right? So if someone gets an 8 on hyperachiever and another person gets a 2, it doesn't mean they're that far apart. They might be. What it means is within, like Elsa's, whatever was high compared to whatever was low on her own assessment gives her an idea of what is most prominent. Whereas what the number that is absolute is that 75% number. That you know, in terms of 75% of our thoughts being positive. And that is how we shift from saboteur to sage mode. The way we make that shift and the way we help others make that shift is being aware of the 75% rule of every 4 thoughts are 3 positive. And then how do we get there? With PQ reps. But first, being aware of the saboteur. So you intercept the saboteur, PQ rep, and then sage. Where's the gift? Where's the gift in this challenge right now? Right? So going back to my daughter, where in the world would there be a gift? I'll make this real. I mean, she attempted suicide, right? Are you saying, Enrique, you might be saying to yourself, are you saying that you and your daughter found a gift in that? I'll be honest with you. In that moment, no. I didn't know about this stuff yet. I knew about the brain fitness, but I had just started going down the mind, but that was 7 years ago. I didn't start studying the mind really until about 5 years ago. Mental fitness, I should say. So in that moment, it was painful. It was lots of nights of crying, waking up in tears, that sort of thing. And for all of us, my entire family. But have we found the gift in that adversity? Absolutely. Absolutely. So my daughter now teaches primarily because of those experiences. So one of the gifts is my daughter can very quickly recognize which children are experiencing depression and anxiety. And she is changing their lives. Right? So how about that for a gift? Right? How about that? For me, my gratitude level is so high, so much higher than it used to be. I wasn't ungrateful. I've never been an ungrateful person. I mean, I'm very grateful, but I'm so grateful for the small things. I'm so grateful for just the simple pleasures of life because I know how fragile life is, right? So there's always a gift in the adversity. And the best way to get there, awareness of saboteur of our thoughts, block it, PQ, sage, right? So there it is. So engage your sage. I love that it rhymes. It's a cool term, right? Engage your sage. And we all have that sage, no matter our background, no matter our background. When we're born, we are born wanting to succeed, wanting to love, wanting to be happy. We sometimes learn, there are things we learn, whether it's, just being angry or mean or whatever it is, whatever the negative energy is, those things are learned, right? So I think we're gonna have a little time for questions here. The final image is this one. So I'm going to, you can come on camera now. I'm gonna unshare my screen here in a moment, but I want you to think about what you're gonna commit to. I'm not gonna tell you what to commit to. That's up to you. You might commit to making one change to like nutrition. And I can give you an example. If you wanted to make one change that's gonna really impact your nutrition, something you do every day, make a smoothie one of your meals every day. And not like a little 200 calorie smoothie. I mean, go for it. I mean, a 500 calorie, 600. My smoothies are 500 to 700 calories. They're super healthy, right? But make a smoothie one of your meals. Immediately, 33%, you'll be eating 33% of the time. 33% of your food intake would be raw. You'd be raw eating if you did that. That'd be huge. That'd be huge, right? And you'll see the recipes that you'll get sent. So let me go ahead and unshare my screen. So we have a little time, about 10 minutes. And we are open for questions, comments, whatever you'd like to talk about. I'm looking at one thing to share with you. Next week, I'm really excited about next week. We're going to be doing our session on May 24th on family engagement, helping our children be life ready. So I'm not sure if there are parents on or just staff, but I just, I'm perfectly happy and would be excited if parents were invited to the 24th, if that's something you want to do or can do. I don't know what you're allowed to do, within your program, but it'll be focused on a lot of really fun strategies and play-based strategies that I use with children, that I've used with young kids and families for years. So everything from how to use music and reading, to using the brain games a little differently, to using our body, to helping children fall in love with healthy eating in really fun, inventive, new ways. It'll be a really fun session. So we'll be pretty active. So yeah.
I know that Marina works with parents. I'm not sure. Are you able to get a hold of parents during this time, Marina, and invite them?
I'm sorry, I had to step away. I had to answer the phone. I didn't.
No. No, the question was if it was possible, if we could send the link to parents so they could join us next week, because it's going to be family engagement and there's going to be a lot of activities that they could use with their children.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because a lot of our teachers also have ways to get a hold of their parents. So if you send it to us, we can probably get it to the coordinators who can send them out.
Awesome. Yeah, you can let them know that it'll be a session that will give them a lot of ideas on how to help them with the energy of their children, on how to help them, not control, but how to help their kids with focus and also learning, but making it fun. So there'll be a lot of ideas. Everything I'm going to be sharing next week will be strategies that parents can use with their kids at home, in addition to early childhood providers working with children in classroom settings or home-based visitation, whatever it is. So it'll be very concrete. It'll be a number of strategies. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Okay, yeah, we can try and do that.
Awesome. How about everyone else? Any questions or or comments? I'm very curious about what from today's session really spoke to you. What from today's session made you go, wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Yes, thank you, Marina. Excellent. Yeah. So what stood out today for everyone? In the chat box is fine, or if you want to unmute yourself, that's fine too.
For myself, I enjoyed it. I just recently started changing the way I started to eat. So it really stood out to me this week or today. And yeah, I had to change the way I ate only because I'm like when I was pregnant with my son, they told me I was what do they call that when you're diabetic but you're not diabetic?
Pre-diabetic?
Yeah, so I was, and that was just during when I was pregnant. So when I had him, I didn't have it. But being that I was during my pregnancy, they said that I was more likely to get it as I got older. So now I'm like scared of that, and I don't want to get it, and I have to change,
Yeah.
become more active in my daily routines and things like that.
I'm so glad that you're taking it seriously because, I mean, it's a very serious thing. And a lot of people, even kids now, are becoming pre-diabetic and diabetic. Again, I'll put in the chat box, the product you want to pick up, and it's cheap, is monk fruit extract. And the brand that I use is Monk Drops. So that has 0 sugar in it. And it's from an Asian fruit. It's a superfood. There are other monk fruit products out there that have, added syrup, and you don't want those. So you want one that's just pure monk fruit. It's 200 times sweeter than sugar. So 6 drops is the equivalent of a teaspoon of sugar. And you can add that to things. So that quenches your desire. At least for me, it quenches my desire for some sweet, right? Without putting the sugar in my body. You can also, when you make smoothies, try and avoid bananas, Mariana, because they're really high in sugar. So you can use instead papaya or just monk fruit with whatever else you're putting it in there. So just keep messing around with it. But if you ever have any questions related to recipes, anyone really, feel free to reach out to me either through ESA or to me directly, however you want to do it. What else? I love hearing your questions and comments. Thank you, Mariana. What else stood out? Or what a question do some of you have? And it's okay if you don't, we might be done. Oh, Elsa said, if Bashes and Cells does not have any of these ingredients, we can ask for them to order. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what you should do.
I know for sure the Bashes and Cells does not have coconut oil. I did ask them to order some, but I haven't gone back. But I know that there are some of the ingredients on here that, yeah, we could ask them to order them. They did say if there is anything we need that we've seen in other stores, that they will get it for us in less than. Yeah.
Awesome. And yeah, John put we can also order online. Yeah, either way. And here's one you can ask for too. The acai frozen packets, unsweetened. Just that and monk drops, game changer, because both are superfoods and both make for great smoothies. If you put in a bunch of stuff that's not frozen and a little bit that is frozen, you get that texture. And then the avocado creates that ooey gooiness. It's great. And there are other things too that can create that, like a little bit of almond butter or peanut butter. And when I say peanut butter, I mean real peanut butter. I do not mean Skippy. All right. It should have 2 products, real peanut butter, peanuts and some type of oil probably, right? And it should have 1 gram of sugar, right? So yeah, I'm sorry, John. I'm not bagging on you, brother. I used to love that stuff. I get it. Yeah, it's these little tweaks, right? These little tweaks. So I'm not saying go out and like throw everything out of your fridge you have right now and only make these things. No, that's not doable. That's not, that's not how it works. I mean, if you were able to do that, great. But I just wasn't ready for it, So it's these little tweaks. So there's 2 tweaks: acai frozen packets, some frozen strawberries. Those are low in sugar. Frozen strawberries, and the acai and the monk drops and the acai. Yeah. So yeah, you tell Bastards what you need, and then go buy, and they'll keep ordering it. That's awesome. That's awesome. If you're going to eat bread, by the way, try not to eat too much of it. But sourdough bread is the best kind of bread for us to be eating. Yeah. And Elsa, that is what I was thinking when I was, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So yeah, there's some great choices out there, But man, this has been fantastic. And what a great turnout today. I mean, it was a good turnout yesterday, but today we had 32 people. I think last time it was 25. So that's a great number. That's a great number. And I have a professional Zoom account, so I can handle big numbers. But I think we're about done. So what do you think?
I think we are. We could wrap this up. We had a total of 34, but some of them had to leave. So yeah, it was a good turnout and a lot of useful information. I do have to go shopping, so I'm gonna take a lot of this, and use it. And we'll all go back very healthy, eating our healthy snacks. So thank you so much. This was wonderful, Enrique. I truly learned a lot, and I can't wait till next week what we have in store. It's going to be again on Monday of next week at 9:45, and I'll send you a new link, and I'll be updating those emails that I wrote down who didn't get the email. So I'll go ahead and reach out to you to see if I have your right email. But thank you, Enrique. Thank you, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you.
Have a great week.
Bye.